Not much, Matt. How are you?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. You hanging in the dorm room today?
No, I actually just drove home back to Green, and my family and I are leaving for the Azalea Invitational tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Cool,
Yeah,
man. Well, appreciate you doing this.
yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I was looking back at our schedule, and I think it was just shy of a year ago. You jumped on for the first time, and we had a really good conversation just about how you got introduced to the game, and what your path has been so far, and interesting year with transition into college, but want to jump in and talk a little bit about that. If you guys haven't had a chance to kind of listen to Max's story and what his path and journey has been like, he's now in his first semester at Ohio State as a freshman. But you can listen to that full episode on the podcast. I'll make sure that I share that again, episode 14. And we just had a really good conversation. I really enjoyed it, and we've kept in touch throughout the past year. So I'm just curious what's going on with you, man. How's this year been, and how's your transition been to Ohio State so far?
Yeah, I mean this year's been different than I was anticipating for sure, but it was still really good. I had a pretty full schedule this summer. Got to play a lot of tournaments and still was able to travel some even with everything going on. But yeah, it was good to be able to still compete. And then um, transition to college wise, it's been different than what I was expecting. Before COVID hit, and
Yeah,
not having a season this fall was or has been definitely a little bit disappointing, but it's a good opportunity for our team to get closer to each other, get to know each other better, get better. We got to take advantage of this time because obviously there's a lot of conferences that aren't playing. So if we can take advantage of this and really improve as a team and individually throughout this time, then I think that'll prepare us well for the spring season. And we've still, a lot of our guys have been able to play some individual events, and this will be my second individual event since the semester started.
nice.
Um, so yeah, we got a good team, and we're really excited to hopefully get out and compete this spring.
Yeah. Well, as you said, it's kind of there's pluses and minuses to what's positives and negatives, I guess, to what's going on right now. But one of the things we talked about the last time on the podcast was you kind of gave us an idea of what you thought your role might be coming in, as a freshman. What does that look like this semester for you so far in transition? I mean, I know you mentioned you guys are spending a lot of time together. Team camaraderie is important. Leadership in a team unit is important. So
Yeah.
how do you kind of see your role in transition that way?
I mean, like I said, we got a really strong team. We had one of our guys won. We had five of us play in the Merito Invitational last week in Texas, and one of our guys went out and won it. So,
That's
and then
awesome.
I finished 11th, and we had a couple other guys play real well. So, I mean, we're like I said, really excited for the spring because we think we can make some noise with all the big name schools.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's gonna take a lot to get there, and like you said, leadership's really important. The veteran guys on the team have been good so far and encouraging us and setting an example of how to work hard. And yeah, I mean, in terms of my role, I think that I definitely have a position where I can definitely take leadership as well. And um, I have a lot of guys that I've been close with on the team before I got here, and um, getting here, gotten even closer to some other guys. So
Yeah.
um, I think the team respects me, and I respect all of them. And I think we're kind of in a situation where we can all lead each other. So I think it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, for sure. It's good when there's a little bit of push and pull from all directions, and everybody's just kind of figuring out where they fit in and what their best role is on the team, right?
Yeah.
Um, I want to pause real quick. Thank you guys for joining. Feel free to drop any questions in, and we'll have Max answer some questions live from you guys if you've got anything that you want him to touch on. But can you go in a little bit deeper on you mentioned, like, the older guys, the upperclassmen on the team, leading by example, working hard. What is that? Can you go into some of the specifics of, what you're seeing and what you're able to, I guess, just observe and be around, that's kind of rubbing off on you in a positive way?
Yeah, it's really good to see guys that really put a good emphasis on getting their schoolwork done, like as soon as they can, so it opens up time for them to go practice. And obviously, it's different having online classes right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of our guys put an emphasis on getting our work done so that we have all afternoon or all morning, whatever it might be, to be at the course and get better. And most of the time, like if I have an empty afternoon, I get all my stuff done. I show up at the course. We have at least two or three or four guys there grinding on
Yeah.
something, whether it's short game or ball striking, whatever it is. So it's good to see. It's good to see everybody working hard. It
Yeah.
definitely encourages all of us to really push ourselves and want to beat not only guys on our team but the guys that we're going to face once we have a season.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Last time you were on, you talked a little bit about your playing and practice routines and kind of the setup that you've got for, or that you had, just to prepare your game and continue to work and develop that. Um, you've got, it's just different this semester, right? Because, before you were in high school, obviously, and you had a public high school, you had a pretty set schedule in terms of school and then, practice afterwards and play afterwards and stuff like that. But, it sounds like with online school, sounds like you've obviously got your priorities right. And it sounds like the team as a whole is, doing a good job of, making sure that you tackle the important stuff with academics and then, obviously jumping in and tying that into golf as well. So with that, more freedom, more flexibility, I think that's one of the things that I think it concerns parents, when they send their child off to school, how are they going to be able to handle some of that freedom and flexibility? What does that look like?
Yeah.
You've got some leaders to lean on, people that have been there and done that for maybe a couple of years, but aside from that, just kind of what are you noticing in terms of just your daily flow and, how has your practice and playing routine changed up or has it not? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so I've actually really enjoyed like you said, the flexibility. And um, like a typical day for me so far has been we either practice or play 18 holes, usually around 8 o'clock, done by noon, go get something to eat, and then do homework, get all my stuff done I need to get done. And that opens me up around usually 3 or 4 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock, and I can go. Now it's obviously getting dark in Ohio at like 6:40, 7 o'clock, but when I got to campus in August and September, it was light till 7:38. So I've been able to get 3 hours of kind of individualized practice in at the end of the day, and that's the kind of stuff I enjoy. And just going out and you know we play a couple times every week, so I find like what do I need to work on right now to get
Yeah.
my overall game in a good spot. And um, it's nice to have that freedom of kind of just doing your own thing almost. Um,
Yeah.
Working on what you want to work on and what you think you need to work on. Um, yeah, I've really enjoyed the opportunity to have some good individual work and kind of an open schedule. And I think the online classes have helped with that for me because obviously like the class time itself is the same, but only one of my classes I have to actually be on and watch at one time. So if I just
Yeah.
get my work done, then I have a lot of the day to myself to get better.
Yeah, for sure. Um, One of the things that we talked about last time we connected was the relationship between you and your dad as your coach.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously, it may have been a little bit easier, with you guys being right there and living in the same house and you're practicing at the same course that he's at. How has that changed? Just the dynamic between coaching between you and your dad. I mean, what does that look like from a remote basis? I mean, you're home right now, so you're obviously fairly close to home. It's not a very far drive, but with that being said, I know you're not going back and forth every single day. So, I mean, how are you
yeah.
and your dad working through that from a distance?
So I think a big thing for us has just been, I mean, I've come home now. I think it's my third time coming home, just for whether it be a day or two, or play 18 holes with him on Sunday morning, whatever it might be. Just he likes to just keep up and see how I'm swinging it and what he thinks in my game could improve. And I've sent him a lot of swing videos, like at different times. Just what do you see? What looks good? What could be better?
Yeah,
Um, Kind of the same thing, we do when I'm at home, just like over text or phone call or whatever it might be.
yeah,
Um, and he went with me to Merida last week, so to have him there and watch me play the practice round, he could pick up on some things, tell me what he thinks needs to be improved, and then he's going with me this week. He might caddy for me down at the Azalea Invitational.
okay,
Um, so yeah, it's been different for sure, but it's nice to be only 2 hour drive from home. So,
yeah,
if I wanna go home and have him watch me hit some balls, I don't have to fly 4 or 5 hours. I can just drive
yeah,
and see what he thinks right then and there.
yeah, for sure. Um, any advice? I mean, additionally on that, I mean, I think that's something that in general, families are always looking for, who's the right person for my child to work with and those types of things. But,
Yeah,
the scenario you're in is an inevitable scenario if you're a good player that's going to go play at a university that's not, directly in proximity to where your coach is. So, I mean, any advice that you can give to players or parents out there around just making that dynamic work remotely?
yeah. I think it's really important to work with somebody instruction wise that you really feel comfortable around.
Yeah.
Somebody that you're like not just your swing coach, but somebody you're almost friends with.
Yeah.
Because when you're not with them in person and you're gonna call them or FaceTime them, you want to be able to have a flowing conversation, or a virtual lesson, whatever you want to call it. But it's important to have somebody that you trust for sure, and someone that knows your game. I think is really important. Maybe not just somebody that watches you hit balls on the range, but somebody that will go out on the course with you and see how you play and see your strengths and weaknesses out on the course. And then I think all those things really help in terms of finding somebody who can help you become better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really good advice. I want to go to the question queue here. We've got one from a guy I think
Yeah,
who played at Ashland. Actually, Cole Smith and I just connected today. He made a comment on one of my posts, the episode I did with my dad. My dad's in the insurance business, which I think you might know. He plays out of Westfield Country Club up there, close to you guys.
yeah.
But Cole asked, who's your favorite teammate and why? I don't know if that's a question that you want to dive into, but it's one that he's throwing out there. So I don't know if you want to or how you want to answer that, but that's something that he's curious about.
Um, yeah, Cole, interesting question. But I don't want to pick one guy, but
Sure.
you know, I have I have kind of a few guys that I like to hang out with on a day-to-day basis, like playing golf, practicing outside golf. Um, I've been comfortable with a few guys, and guys that I've known for more than just getting here, like know them a little
Yeah.
bit before, prior to getting here. Um, I think I like everybody on our team. There's no one I don't like. We got a really good team and a great group of guys who want to get better and work hard. And um, so yeah, I don't know if I have a favorite teammate, but definitely,
All right.
I have a
That's a
really
tough question. You don't want
yeah,
to
I have
alienate yourself,
a
right?
really awesome squad around me.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm sure you lean into different people for different things, right? I mean, you just develop
Exactly.
different relationships and they form because of the interactions that you guys have and they deepen in certain areas with different people, so there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure you've got good relationships with multiple teammates.
Yeah.
I want to One of the things that you're going to help me with this today, if you're
Okay.
all right with it. So, Golf Kicks is a company that I've done a partnership with,
Okay.
and I've been doing some contests and stuff like that. And so we're just going to kind of do one live. We're not going to do it right now, but I just want to kind of let everybody know. So, Golf Kicks, if you guys aren't familiar with them, you can take any shoe basically. So I've got a Nike shoe here, Court Vision, and you can put the spikes on the bottom of them. So pretty much any shoe with a rubber sole. They've won some good innovation awards on Golf Digest, My Golf Spy. They did a deal with Mark Cuban on Shark Tank. And so I'm giving these away. They sent me a bunch of them. And can you see like everybody that's joined on this thread? I'm not sure if you can kind of see through the thread who they're joining or who's joining. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see most of the people.
Okay. So at some point, maybe towards the end, I'm just going to have you do like a random scroll and just pick somebody. And I'm going to send them a pair of these things.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about just your tournament prep. Has your tournament prep changed any? I mean, I know that you've been limited in events this fall, but I mean, is there anything you picked up on since you've transitioned into college? Obviously, you've got probably a lot stiffer competition. The cream starts to rise as
Yeah.
go up through college ranks and into professional ranks, and you're playing in like U.S. Amateur this summer. You're playing against some guys that have had some really good success. So, has that changed at all for you? What does that look like?
So up until a few days ago, I've been pretty much doing the same thing that I normally do. Get to a tournament, obviously practice round, and then usually I like to play a practice round in the morning and then kind of give myself the afternoon to see what I need to work on before I tee it up the next day.
Yeah.
But John Cook, a multi PGA Tour winner that went to
Yep.
Ohio State, he came and talked to us a few days ago and kind of gave us some of his advice. And he told us that he liked to prepare his game as much as he could right before he went to the tournament so that when he played the practice rounds and he got ready, he could just focus on the course and get a good feel for the course. And I think that's something that I'm going to try to work into my routine, try and get everything dialed in before I fly or drive to wherever I'm going. And then
Yeah.
once I'm there, just focus on how can I get a good feel for this golf course so that I can play some really good golf over the next few days.
Yeah. Go a little further into that. Like what does it mean to do that prior to traveling?
So I think, we had qualifying this weekend, so I've got some rounds under my belt in the last few days, and I kind of know there's a couple of things that I need to dial in, and like we're not leaving till the afternoon tomorrow, so I got all tomorrow morning to dial in a few of the things I think I need to get a little bit better at and get a little bit sharper before I go down to South Carolina. But yeah, just I think playing a lot, like leading up to a tournament, so that you know what's going well, what's not going well, so that you can really focus on those things and have and kind of have your game peak at the right time.
Yeah. So why is it so important to do that before and not maybe, make any last minute changes when you get to the course or try to tweak some stuff there? What's the importance in that?
I just think it's really important to have, full confidence in what you're already doing when you get to the course for a tournament, because, when you get there, if you have a questionable warm-up session or hit a couple questionable shots right away in the round, then you're kind of gonna be guessing throughout the round and maybe try some different things. And for me, like whenever I've had to like make different swing thoughts throughout a round, I've struggled a little bit. And I know like when I play my best golf, I'm making a golf swing that just feels normal. I'm not trying to do anything different. I'm just trying to make a good swing, just a normal swing. And same thing with putting. Like if you're in a spot where you're struggling with the putter out on the course, you can definitely get into your own head a little bit and try a bunch of different things. And I think it's important to
Yeah.
stick to it, have a routine that you trust and stick to. And that's something I've done really well this year. I've putted it really well inside 10 feet this year. And I think a big part of that is just trusting the prep that I had, before the tournament started, and then just going out there and rolling it.
Yeah. Is the prep work prior to, is it more technical work? Is it more routine based? Mental work? What specifically, or everything all encompassing?
It's kind of all together. Before my round, I usually like to get to the course about an hour, hour and 15 minutes before I tee off.
Yeah,
And then I'll putt for a good 20, 25, 30 minutes, and I'll spend probably 15 or so minutes on a mirror, just making sure that my alignment's good, my eyes are over the ball how I want them to be, and my stroke just kind of gets me going for the day of feeling a good stroke, feeling what my best stroke is, and then kind of the mental side of it. I'll hit a lot of different putts speed wise, get used to the speed, and then hit a lot of 6, 7, 8 footers that it's just
yeah,
nice to see those putts go in before you go tee off.
yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, it's definitely important to get that prep work in. What happens when you show up at the course? And I think this applies for, you know, around you're just teeing it up with buddies or, you're playing in competition. Speak to the players or, some of the young players out there. What happens when you put in the prep work and you get to the course and you start hitting balls and maybe it's just off a little bit? What do you do?
Um, I really think that it's important to kind of go with what you've got that day
Okay.
because it's really hard to make changes during a round or right before a round. I think it adds a lot of stress, and if you've got a certain miss that day, then you kind of just have to go with it and make the most of what your game's going to give you that day. Obviously,
Yeah.
you're gonna have days where you're striping it on the range and you're feeling great about it. And I had one of those days at Maridoe. I was hitting it really good on the range the second round. I got on the first hole and I hosel shanked one, and I was like, "What just happened?" I was hitting it so good on the range, and
Yeah.
then I kind of just took a deep breath and realized like it's just one swing, and what I've been doing for the last few days, I've been hitting it well, so I just got to keep trusting it, and was able to finish that tournament off with a good round the last day. So I just think you just have to trust what you've put in, the work you've put in, um, and kind of just go with what your game gives you each and every day.
Yeah, for sure. I think you said something there that was super important, and I just want to go back to it, which is, you realize it's just one swing or it's just one shot.
Yeah,
I think sometimes, you know, as golfers, we can just get in the habit of, looking ahead and thinking about the next hole. And, I'm currently, here's where I stand, but if I can do X, Y, Z coming down the stretch, I can put myself in a position to, shoot a certain score or finish in a certain place, whatever that may be. Um, I think it's a very difficult thing to do to stay internal and only focus on one shot at a time. But if you can do it, the results, are tremendous. I think they speak for
yeah.
themselves. So, I mean, what are some, tips that you can give some of the young players that are out there about that specifically?
Yeah, so um so I think it's a really good thing to do is when you're struggling, you hit that one bad shot or a few bad shots in a row and maybe you get off to a bad start in a round, whatever it might be. I think just kind of focusing on obviously one shot at a time, but for me that means trying to hit fairways and trying to hit the middle of greens and just give myself stress-free pars.
Yeah.
A good example at Maridoe. I mean, it's one of the toughest golf courses I've ever played, probably the toughest. Wind's always howling. I mean, it's all you can eat. Um, but I struggled the first day and the second day on the front nine. Made a lot of questionable decisions and swings, but I got to the back nine and I was like, well, obviously the score is not in a great place right now, but if we string together some pars, maybe make a birdie coming in, then it ends up being a decent day. And
Yeah.
both of those rounds on the back nine, I really focused on just hitting fairways, hitting greens, and trying to get myself tap in pars. And the first round, I parred the last 7 holes. Second round, I parred the last 8 holes. So those are rounds
Okay.
that could have went the other direction, but I decided to focus on just hitting fairways and greens and trying to get myself stress free pars and it saved me some shots for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Guys, I just want to thank you guys for joining again. We got Max Moldovan on. He's a freshman at Ohio State University, the Ohio State University. Go Buckeyes. Super excited to have him on. We're going to do a drawing here soon for a pair of golf kicks. I was talking about him earlier, partner of mine, and I'm going to have Max pick a winner today. So I appreciate you guys joining. If you got any questions, please put them in the comments section so that he can answer those. Max, I want to talk a little bit about, you mentioned John Cook and, having good people around you to lean into and, pull from their experience is very important regardless of what level you're playing at. So is there anybody else that, since your transition to college has kind of jumped in and played a role for you in that way other than John? Or, is there anybody else that you'd talk about that way?
Yeah, Coach Mosley's definitely been a big help for me. Um, yeah, Coach Mosley and John Cook are probably the main two that I've looked to in situations like that. I've had a couple teammates that have really been encouraging to me and telling me like, you're gonna have so many qualifying rounds, so many team rounds in your time here at Ohio State that one round's not gonna, it's not that big a deal. It's just go out and have fun. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's been good. I mean, the people that I have around me at Ohio State, I couldn't be more thankful for those people. And yeah, but throughout the summer um, and spring, obviously when COVID hit, one of my good friends, Justin Lauer, plays on the Web.com tour or the Corn
Yeah.
Ferry tour, and he's been a big help to me. Just we played golf probably 3 or 4 times a week from April to the end of May, and it was really good to be around somebody who's had such good success and is such a hard
Yeah.
worker. It's good to be around those kind of people um, and see them work hard and they encourage you to work hard and yeah, I just think putting yourself in situations where you play with people that are really good themselves, you can learn a lot. And like from John Cook, I mean, he's had such an amazing career. It's easy to listen to him when he's talking about what helped him be successful because he's been so successful. So it's
Yeah.
really good to listen to what successful people have done, what they've worked on, their habits, and try and learn from that. I think you talk to anyone who's had any deal of success playing golf, you can learn something from them.
Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah, that's an interesting one too, because there's obviously a lot of conversation, and there has been over the years about how much the game has changed, and we talk about distance and the golf ball and technology, and we talk a lot of different stuff like that about the current game versus players that came up maybe in John's era. Um, I'd be interested to know what some of those conversations look like, because those are topics of conversation, but what are some of those like tried and truths that regardless of the distance and the length of the game now and the technology of the game now, what are some of those tried and true things that you and John have talked about?
Yeah, one thing I really picked up from John is he just told me, you know, play your own game and don't like really adapt to other guys that are around you and try to do things that they do or whatnot. Just like he told me, you've got to where you're at because of playing your own game and trusting in your own game um and I think that's really big. That was big for me to hear that from somebody as accomplished as him, to hear him say, Max, you're really accomplished and you've got here because of what you've trusted in your own game, and so just
Yeah.
go do it. And
Yeah.
I think I needed to hear that because I've had times this summer where I put a lot of expectation on myself um, and struggled some. Like at Merido, I didn't play my best golf the first 2 days, and
Yeah.
the third round out there, I just told myself, let's just go have fun today. Like with everything that's going on in the world, to get to compete in a tournament, it's such a amazing opportunity. So
Yeah.
let's just go have fun and enjoy the walk. Um, and that's been, I mean, when John told me that, it was really good feeling.
Yeah. Is the messaging any different from, you mentioned Lauer, who I actually know too. Obviously, I've seen him at our Corn Ferry event that I'm involved with, the Lecom Suncoast Classic down here in
Yeah.
Florida. And then he actually practices. I think he works with an instructor out of Westfield,
Hmm.
where my dad is. So I know he's been out there a few times. My brother-in-law has teed it up with him out there. Um, is the messaging any different from him? Somebody that's coming up through the professional ranks right now and has had some good success there. Is it any different from him versus conversations that you've had with John?
Um, a little bit. I mean, in terms of Justin, I mean, we compete a lot, so
Yeah,
I mean, it's more, friendly competition and kind of just pushing each other to play really good golf um and it's he texts me a lot like before a tournament. He'll just send me, hey, play well this week, go tear
yeah,
it up, that kind of thing, and to have encouragement from him. And Chase Johnson's also on the Corn Ferry Tour, and
yeah,
he keeps up with me and texts me a lot. And
yeah,
I'll always tell him play well this week. He'll tell me play well this week. So to have encouragement from guys that are, on the Corn Ferry Tour and on their way to the PGA Tour, it's really, really a blessing, and I'm super thankful that I get to surround myself with those kind of people.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, the people that you meet and the relationships that you build, that the age levels kind of blend. I think when you start talking about the game of golf and
Yeah,
people that have had success in different eras, that game of golf kind of strips that hierarchy, I think, of age out of it to just be able to talk, golfer to golfer, competitor to competitor. So I think it's pretty cool that you found that in some different people, throughout your whole journey and then just even recently.
yeah.
Um, so kind of want to move towards wrapping up, but talk to the young players out there, and is there any advice or anything that I can't remember every detail that you shared last time. Again, if you're tuning into this, you can catch Max's full an original episode 14, on the podcast, and we talked a lot about some of the junior successes that he has had, and some of the good finishes he's had throughout his junior career. But that chapter of the book was written, and on a new one now. Any pieces of advice that you would give some of those young players out there who are just striving to be their best, that are trying to look for a good college to go play at, that have aspirations of playing professionally? Any of those things that you would touch on?
Yeah, a few things. I think one of the most important things is not to put too much pressure on yourself.
Yeah,
Not to go into a tournament round saying, "Oh, I have to play so well today, so and so coach will be interested in me," or whatever it might be. Just if you go out there and have fun and don't put too much pressure on yourself, you're not going to have as much stress. And go out there knowing that the work that you've put in is super important, and it's super, it's something that you can trust. Um, and another thing I think is important is, for me, has always been short game. Spend more time chipping and putting and in the bunker than you do beating balls on the range, because if you have a bad ball striking day, you can turn it into a decent score if you chip and putt it well. And if you
yeah,
have a good ball striking day, you can shoot a really good score if you chip and putt it well.
yeah, yeah,
So I mean, the short game is underrated in my opinion. I mean, you see Bryson and all these guys hitting it really long. I mean, nobody talks about how good Bryson putts the ball.
mm,
I mean, if he doesn't putt it half as good as he did at the U.S. Open, he doesn't even finish in the top 5.
yeah,
So I mean, putting and chipping is such a big part of the game, and if you get really good at those and you have some real confidence around the green and think, oh, I can get it up and down from here. This guy over here might not be able to, but I
yeah,
practiced the shot. I can get it up and down. Then I think that's really important. And yeah, I think those two things, not adding too much pressure on yourself and really trusting in the short game work and overall work that you put in is really important.
yeah. What would you say to the player that would respond to the short game piece of it and say that, yeah, that sounds great. I work on my short game, but you know, I'm of the mindset that if I can really perfect my ball striking, then the short game doesn't really matter that much at the end of the day. What kind of advice do you have for that player?
Um, I've gotten a lot better ball striking wise over the last couple years, but I've
Yeah,
noticed that, you know, you're not going to hit 18 greens, 17 greens very often. I mean, you can have a really good ball striking day, but you can get a couple of questionable bounces and hit 13 greens and say, "Wow, I
sure.
hit it well today." But you got 5 holes where you got to get it up and down. And if you only
Hmm.
get it up and down twice, then you're making 3 bogeys or worse, and then you're putting yourself behind the pace. But if you work on your if you work on your short game consistently and become really good out of the bunkers and out of the rough chip in and out of the fairway chip in and a bunch of
Yeah,
different areas, then you can still hit it really good. You can hit 15 greens, but those 3 chips, you hit 3 good chips, you're gonna make 3 pars, and then from there, you hit 15 greens, you get a lot of birdie opportunities. So
yeah,
if you can just have a majority of the holes that you miss the green, you get up and down, then it's going to save you shots. No matter how good your ball
yeah,
striking is, you're going to
yeah.
miss the
I mean, I
green.
definitely agree with. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely agree with uh, that philosophy 100%. I know there are some people out there that question it a little bit, but I think that it's been a big topic of conversation with everybody that has been on this show that has had good success. It's a common thread in that success. So I think it's great advice, and I appreciate you sharing that for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, any last minute questions by anybody out there before we start to wrap up here with Max? Again, Max, I really appreciate you coming back. I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for you to get out there in the spring and compete with the team. And I think that you're going to have a lot of really good success. I think you've already seen, just I can tell in kind of our conversation, um, a couple switches that have flipped, and your mentality behind the transition, I think, has been a really strong one. And obviously, I can tell that even just a short amount of time from when we first met, you've had some really good growth and mindset and success. So I appreciate you being on and sharing some of that information with this group, because I think there's a lot that people can take away from somebody that's similar in age that is out there competing day in and day out. And I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It's always good to check in and
Yeah,
hang out with you for a little bit and just talk
yeah,
golf and life and hopefully encourage some people and give some good advice to all the juniors that are trying to trying to get really good.
yeah, for sure. I mean, with that being said, is there anything that, golf aside, um, any life advice for some of the younger ones out there?
Um, I mean, I really think surrounding yourself with a good support system's huge because when you want to have people that are going to be there for you on your good days and on your bad days.
Yeah,
And I've had that a lot, especially this year. I haven't played. I mean, I played decent this summer, but I haven't hit any of the high goals that I had coming into the summer. But my mom, my dad, my friends, my girlfriend, they've all been there. They've all encouraged me. They've pushed me to keep working, and they all say eventually, you're gonna hit those goals eventually. If you keep working hard, it's all gonna come to a plan at the right time. Um, and I was raised a big Christian, and I'm always gonna believe that at the right time, God's gonna put you where you want to be, and I
yep,
think I think trusting in God and trusting in His plan for you is the best thing you can do with your life.
I agree with you. I think that's really sound advice coming from you that some of these young players up and coming can learn from just about life, and obviously
Yeah,
these guys golf advice too. But I appreciate you sharing that information.
yeah, for sure.
So I don't think we've got any other questions that have come in. Can you do me a favor and just do like a quick scroll and just pick a name? And I'm gonna call them out and send them a pair of these Golf Kicks spikes that they can convert some sneakers into golf shoes.
All right, sounds good. I'll like close my eyes or something and scroll, and
Okay.
wherever my fingers
All
at,
right.
I'll just. All right.
Okay.
All right. Jacques Armstrong, 23.
John, spell it for me.
J A
J-O-T-K. Oh,
Jacqueus
Jacqueus.
underscore
Uh-huh.
Armstrong
All right.
23.
23. All right. So I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Jacquees Armstrong, maybe. I don't know if I'm screwing that up. If I am, I apologize. But Max has selected you. I'm going to send you a pair of golf kicks if you're still on. DM me your address. Otherwise, I'll send you a DM and get that for you so I can send these out. But Max, it's been a pleasure, man. I really appreciate it. I enjoy staying in touch with you. I just appreciate, you know, being close to and understanding, kind of having like an inside view as to what you and some of the other young players who are up and coming and having good success, what you're doing and how you're doing and how you're doing it. I think it's super important. So thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate your time, and good luck this week.
Appreciate it, Matt. Yeah, anytime. Just let me know, and I'll be happy to come on here and talk to you. So thanks for having me.
All right, bud. You're welcome. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. I really appreciate you tuning in this week and listening to that chat with Max. What a great kid. I say kid, he's not. What a great young man. He's had obviously a lot of success in the junior golf world. He's transitioned to Ohio State. And, I definitely think we're going to keep seeing his name out there in events and competitions where he's going to be towards the top of those leaderboards. So he's got some good advice for you guys, golf-wise, life-wise, and I hope you enjoyed this chat. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a great day.